We talked about safety. We talked about safely allowing folks to peacefully protest. No one in Oregon is interested in seeing military policing on our streets when people are protesting peacefully.
Now on Katu News at 5, Oregon Governor Kotek detailing her sit-down with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Noem arrived in Portland just hours ago to get an up-close look at the ICE facility on the city's south waterfront. You're looking at video of Noem on the facility's rooftop earlier this afternoon. Of course, not all protests have been peaceful, which is part of the reason Portland remains in the national spotlight tonight. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Ray Gasaway.
And I'm Deb Knapp. Here's what's new today. Since arriving late this morning, Secretary Noem has met with Governor Kotek, as well as Portland Police, the Multnomah County Sheriff, and State Police. Following those meetings, Governor Kotek told CNN she is glad Noem is here so she can see what's really happening in Portland. This afternoon, the governor also directed the United States Northern Command to demobilize Oregon's 200 National Guard citizen soldiers and send California National Guard members back home, calling their deployment unlawful.
It's really important to understand that this isn't just about Democratic-led states or Democratic-led cities. What is happening here when the federal government, without real facts, and the court has said there are no facts on the ground to justify this, is talking about putting military troops in American cities. It is crossing a line.
At this point, we don't know what Noem discussed with law enforcement. We'll bring you that as soon as we can. The governor's meeting with Secretary Noem, just the latest in an ever-evolving fight between city and state leaders and the Trump administration, which claims protesters are making problems, not the other way around. In fact, the president has floated the Insurrection Act. K2's on your side with team coverage. K2's Thanvi Verma is tracking the latest on the legal battle over the deployment of National Guard troops.
We start with K2's Christina Giardinelli, who's been outside the ICE facility during Noem's entire visit. Christina, what are things looking like right now?
Right, the caution tape is still up right now, so an entire block perimeter around the ICE facility still up here. Protesters, a small group over to the right here. There's also a counter-protester with a sign that talks about appreciating the federal presence here, as well as you can see Portland needs change on that sign. And then about 5 protesters. This group was a little larger earlier today. And then if we go into the actual closed-off block, you can see a little bit of federal agent presence outside the building. There are also a couple federal agents monitoring the situation from on top of the building. We'll pan over there now so you can see that tent has been up earlier today. You saw that video that we just showed you earlier in the show of Noem on top of the building. She was taking pictures there. Now today I did talk to both protesters and counter-protesters. A larger than normal protester presence at the South Portland ICE facility Tuesday. Portland police securing a 1-block perimeter for the visit of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. The city of Portland telling K2 News PPB's assistance is standard procedure for all dignitaries. Noem arrived around noon to both insults and some supporters. Helena, who chose not to share her full name, told me her presence is a testament to the First Amendment.
In the United States, we have the right to protest the excesses and abuses of our government. I am here to ensure that we continue to have those rights.
Helena tells me she believes protesters have been mostly nonviolent, and she does not see the need for troop deployment to Portland. She questioned Noem's motives for the visit.
I don't know why she's down here. I mean, it seems like she'll be able to see for herself that Portland isn't the war zone that the administration is claiming it is.
Across the street, a smaller and less vocal group of counter-protesters also gathering. Natalie Bermudez tells me she welcomes troops in Portland and hopes they will clean up the streets downtown.
I'm just really tired and sick of seeing Portland, which was a once very beautiful city, which I could go at night skateboarding all through downtown. It's terrifying down there. It really is. It's scary. It's broken down. I mean, there's drugs all over the street. There's homeless people taking over the roads.
Noem was spotted at least once on the roof of the ICE building with multiple conservative journalists, including Nick Sorter. Sorter was also seen leaving in her motorcade. As the windows of the car rolled down, I tried to get an interview.
You guys allowing other press access too?
Now, Katu did email the Department of Homeland Security twice asking for an interview with Noem. In response to one of those emails, the Department of Homeland Security referred to some arrests, immigration arrests it says it made in September, and says it will continue to make those arrests despite what it's calling violent Antifa riots. Live in South Portland, Cristina Giardinelli, Katu News.
Christina, thanks for that. And in that statement from DHS that Christina mentioned, the agency says protesters are trying to protect criminals, including, quote, pedophiles, murderers, sexual predators, and drug traffickers. The statement goes on to say, quote, these are the heinous criminals. Antifa domestic terrorists are trying to obstruct law enforcement from removing from our communities. DHS says they are not allowing domestic terrorists to slow them down from removing the, quote, worst of the worst. Meanwhile, we are 2 days away from oral arguments in the case between Oregon and Portland and the Trump administration.
Both sides will be arguing whether the National Guard should be in Portland. Tonight, we're looking at what could happen if the judge once again sides with Oregon and decides that the National Guard does not need to be in Portland. KT's Tanvi Verma continues our team coverage from the live desk. And Tanvi, President Trump has been discussing potentially invoking the Insurrection Act. So can you explain that?
Deb, so basically the Insurrection Act gives the president the authority to invoke the military to suppress an insurrection. The debate now is what constitutes an insurrection. A federal judge has paused the deployment of the National Guard into Portland, but if that legal battle between Oregon and the Trump administration takes too long, President Trump could consider invoking the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act gives the president the power to send in the military, but that is to suppress an insurrection. Here's what he told reporters on Monday.
If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe.
Republican Senator Tom Tillis from North Carolina seemed to push back on the idea today.
I don't think that makes sense. I think that's an overreach. I don't believe I'm not a historian, but I don't believe any reasonable person thinks that that was ever the intent of the Insurrection Act.
And coming up at 6 p.m., we hear from a constitutional law expert. He tells us how long this legal battle could take. At the live desk, Tanvi Verma, K2 News.
Tanvi, thanks for that. And as protests continue outside the ICE facility, videos and pictures continue to circulate online, some new, some old, and some that have nothing to do with Portland at all. K2 has confirmed that images recently shared by the Oregon Republican Party about Portland were actually pictures from protests in South America. We asked them about this. They tell us the graphic in question was created by a volunteer working quickly to post breaking news about President Trump's deployment of California National Guard troops to Portland. Quote, the background to the announcement was created using stock photos from Canva, which, unbeknownst to us, included foreign imagery. No assertion that the images were taken in Portland was made nor intended. They tell K2 the post has been removed. Portland Police Chief Bob Day has said repeatedly that some videos circulating online are old, even from years ago, or not accurate.
President Trump invoked Title 10 to federalize the Oregon National Guard late last month. And since then, every day has been a whirlwind of new developments. K2's on your side with a comprehensive list of everything that has happened since then. You can find a full timeline right now on our website, katu.com.